Just struck overnight, they're all dead. While the entire nation is focused on President Trump's tax plan and travel ban, the commander-in-chief hasn't broken stride, and rightfully so. He's been quietly and diligently working at one massive mission he's secretly been on outside the public eye, and now he has just struck our enemy overnight. It's fair to say that from here, things are about to get really bad for certain people who have already been under a heaping dose of scrutiny. The threat of attack on Americans is ever present and not something that Trump is taking lightly. Unlike his predecessor, he's getting right to the heart of the matter and not making any excuses for it. We've lived with the threat for long enough. Barack Hussein Obama even catered to it, invited it into the US in droves, feeding terrorism, which Trump is now eradicating, and just did so in one airstrike on a group of people who definitely deserved it. This is not Trump's first airstrike in his first year in office, and it likely won't be his last as long as the biggest threat to American lives persists. CNN reports. A U.S. airstrike on Christmas Eve against the militant group Al-Shabaab in southern Somalia killed 13, U.S. Africa Command said Wednesday. The U.S. said its forces conducted the airstrike in coordination with the government of Somalia and identified the 13 killed as terrorists. U.S. forces will continue to use all authorized and appropriate measures to protect the United States, its partners and interests, and deny safe haven to terrorist groups, Africa Command said in a statement on the strike. Earlier in December, a State Department official told CNN the U.S. is cutting some military aid to Somalia due to allegations of misuse, a move that comes as the U.S. has become more involved in Somalia, fighting the militant groups Al-Shabaab and ISIS with airstrikes and having some 500 U.S. troops in there to advise local forces. U.S. Africa Command said last month a U.S. strike in Somalia killed more than 100 people it identified as Al-Shabaab militants. That strike came shortly after the U.S. conducted its first known strike targeting ISIS in Somalia. Since President Donald Trump took office, the number of U.S. airstrikes in Somalia and the war-torn country of Yemen have increased, according to a tally from the Foundation for Defense of Democracy's Long War Journal. Sunday's strike is the U.S. 34th in Somalia since Trump took office. While Obama brought in Somali refugees at a record rate with a goal of thousands more that his successor stopped when he took office, Trump is now taking the problem even further. By bombing this terrorist nation that he's put on his travel ban, he's sending a clear message to radicalized Muslims that terrorism isn't going to be tolerated any longer and is certainly not welcome in America, nor are crimes against our citizens. Proving the importance of this move and the need for a travel ban from that nation, was what a Somali Muslim in Minnesota did just a couple days after Trump sent an airstrike in Somalia. A man being described as a Somali man in his early 20s, brutally stabbed a woman 14 times in Minneapolis. She was simply leaving work when the refugee, who was not known to her, attacked out of nowhere. KSDP reports. A Minneapolis woman who was stabbed 14 times while walking to her uptown home said she is doing better and is focused on helping police catch her attacker. 26-year-old Morgan Evanson said she was attacked December 13 while walking home from her job at the Apple store on Hennepin Avenue. Evanson told KSDP she struggled with her attacker at the corner of 32nd Street and Fremont Avenue and she considers herself lucky to be alive. It was horrifying, because I could feel something that felt like it was stinging me, but it was him stabbing me, she said. Doctors told me I had 14 wounds that needed stitches, including a lacerated kidney. Evanson told KSDP her main concern now is getting better and helping police find whoever did this so he cannot do it again. I cannot imagine anyone attacking someone like that, and as a woman it is especially frightening. But I knew I had to fight back and I want him to know I am okay and that he will be caught, Evanson said. While the media, including Minnesota's leading news source, the Minneapolis Star-Tribune, are completely avoiding this story like the plague as to protect the image of Somalis, Trump is addressing the issue head-on. It's absolutely unacceptable that these violent individuals from war-torn third world countries, who hate the U.S. and America, have been allowed in our country in the first place. Liberals are still advocating for more, but they will have to get past Trump first, which isn't going to happen.